Welcome to In the Loop, a podcast by Civic Duty Rice. My name is Sonia Torres, and I'm a junior from Hanson College. We have a very special program planned for today, and we'll be discussing Mi Familia Vota's Emerging Latino Leaders Program. Let's get into it. Our organization came to campus last semester with the intent of taking the civic energy experienced by Rice students and translating it into action. We work to establish and nurture community partnerships with projects working to increase community and youth civic engagement in a nonpartisan way. One of our most active community partners this year has been Mi Familia Vota. Mi Familia Vota is a national 501c4 civic engagement organization that advocates on social and economic issues that impact the Latino community, from immigration to workers' rights. We currently work with Angelica Razo, a former Rice alumni, who is the lead on the Emerging Latino Leaders Project with Mi Familia Vota. It's really cool to see students who took time after their education here at Rice to practice and do something positive for their community. The ELL program was in part co-founded by Daniel Cortez, who first launched the program in 2015. Daniel, then a Rice student, submitted the idea of hosting a youth summit for Latino students to the Center for Civic Leadership. Knowing this history, I was better able to appreciate the role Rice students can have when we get off campus and put our experiences to support really cool community organizations. Now comes the most exciting part of the podcast. Today we have two high school students who I coincidentally met through the Emerging Latino Leaders Youth Summits. Both of the times I volunteered with these focus groups, I have been able to share my input as an older mentor to these students. However, through my interactions with them, I have realized that in the world of civic engagement, you are never too young to be impactful. And I can't wait to hear what these students have to teach me. So hey y'all, welcome to the show. Can you tell me a little bit about who you are, what school you come from, and who your favorite superhero is?
Hello, my name is Gloria Ortiz. I go to Chavez High School. I'm a senior and I'm graduating on June 9th.
Hell yeah.
And my favorite animal is, my favorite superhero is Spider-Man because he's just cool.
Yeah, hi, what's up, guys? My name is Alexis Ruiz. I come from HSPVA, the High School for the Performing and Visual Arts. I am in the mariachi department in Los Pasajeros, stay repping. My favorite superhero is Django. Django is just a cool dude, man. He just kills, man.
Man, okay, very unrelated note, but Los Pasajeros were at the Houston Rodeo last year, and it was really cool that the Rice Mariachi, which I was the president of last year, were able to be at the same place. So I've interacted with these kids before
Yay.
this, which
it's crazy, man. That stage is amazing.
All right, so let's get into it. Very general question for y'all. What does civic engagement mean to you?
I think that civic engagement means getting involved into what's going around in your community and what you can do to create a better life for them, or trying to help them in any way. With politics, it can be with anything, economics, with anything you can help them out.
For me, I can't find what it doesn't mean to me. I feel like it's something that it's almost like a calling, really, because it's crazy how from this senior year, I decided to start becoming an activist of some sort. And then it's crazy, when DACA was repealed, I was out there, as supporting the protest. And then I went to New Orleans, I think it was towards the ending of September, early October. And we were out there protesting for SB4. And it was just then DC happened. And then recently, last Thursday, we were out there protesting at City Hall again,
Mm-hmm.
and we're both speaking there. So it's just crazy. To me, civic engagement means what you is you got to look into yourself and be what
you're willing to do.
Yeah, what are you willing to do, and what side of history do you want to be on? Do you want to be on the side where you can say, I was there to stop discriminatory legislation from passing and affecting my community? When I heard SB4 and its absurdity, I was just man, really
It got me bad because SB4 is when they take the TPS for a Salvadoran or a Honduran that had permission to stay here. And that got me really mad because most of our students in my school are Salvadoran and Honduran. And I have friends who are Salvadoran, who are Honduran and have this TPS. And like it got me really mad because I was like, how dare them? Like they already took DACA, you know. And yes, they had brought it back, but when they had brought it back, there was only certain people that can register because they already expired from like when it got removed, and now TPS got removed, so they have like until 2019.
For our listeners, by the way, what's TPS?
TPS is a temporary protection status for them to stay here and have permission to work, have permission to get a driver's license, and basically stay in the United States. It's a permit. And so it got me so mad because I was like, that's a disrespect. First, they take out DACA. Yes, they brought it back, but now the people who are expired are not logical. They are not be able to renew it because you can't renew it if you already got it expired before the legislation came. And then TPS got removed, and so now they have until 2019 to get out. So that was a disrespect to my community, even though I'm not Salvadoran, even though I'm not Honduran. That was a disrespect to my community because they haven't passed the DREAM Act. They haven't, and it's been like 2010 that came out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I think when you claim my community, is like you don't really have to specify anymore, because like when we were out there protesting in Washington, it's like you see like the different kinds of like ethnicities and races that this issue affects. Like I remember one day when we were done protesting, we went out to the Jumbotron, and then we had like this rapper from West Africa who is a DACA recipient. You know, and it's just like, then you're like vibing out in the crowd, you know, you're over here getting lit. And then you see like somebody from like some part of Asia, and then like you see Muslim people, and then you're just like, wow, it's crazy. Like through this oppression, they're blending us together. And like that way we're getting stronger. And that's what gives me so much hope for the future, because I know that our generation, we look at each other and it's just like, we look at you as people, not, oh, you're this, you know what I'm saying?
See, but the thing is, when it comes to teenagers and when it comes to adolescents like us, like very like young and stuff, they look at us like if we are not smart enough or like wise, but if you look at it, we have the most voting, like we can literally vote out of our way to the situation, but the thing is we don't use our voting rights.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing that gets me like messed up, because the elderly is the one that votes more than we do, and that's a shame because we are most than they are. And so when I went to Washington, I saw thousands of people coming in there from the black community, the Muslim community, the Asian community, any color, any skin type, and you name it. And we were chanting together for a purpose. There was even white people coming in there and chanting with us. They're like, okay, I support y'all, you know, because I felt like that was empowering. We were handing out flyers, and when we were hanging out flyers, there's this white dude coming in there, and he tells us, oh, immigrants are going to lose, Republicans are going to win. Like, that was so disrespectful, and I had a friend who was crying. She was mad, and so I told her, I was like, don't worry about what they say. Just do your job and don't worry, because in the end, what they're saying, they're going to be wrong about this because we're making history. And then this white lady came while she heard us, she heard that guy, and she worked in the Senate, and she was like, don't listen, she was like, don't be so disrespectful. They're human beings too. And like that hit my heart, because even though a white person said that to us, another white girl came up to us and be like really respectful to us. Like she gave us respect. And I felt that was very like empowering. And so when I was chanting, when I was speaking to thousands of people about my story, because reliving it and saying it over and over is traumatic for me. Mm-hmm. I hate talking about it because it's traumatic for me. So when I was there speaking for thousands of people and like tearing up and like losing my completely voice, and I was like, man, I couldn't speak. I was like, it's worth it because people want to know my story. People feel inspired about my story, because I got to let these people know, these politicians know, that once that I looked up to them, now I'm like very disappointed in them, got to see the truth. And then now I'm over here telling my traumatic situation, so let them know that the police who supposedly supposed to protect us, they were disrespecting our families because we're, you know, being discriminated at the fact that they didn't have papers. Or like when we went to the Senate's office, I was speaking about how my father died, and you know, he was always like, I was raised in jail cells, and I was telling them about how my grandma couldn't pass to the U.S. to go see her son die. Like, she couldn't even see him at the funeral. And then what they did is the secretaries of the senators who came out saying, oh, you know, the senator really, she believes in you, and like she thinks that, you know, she's a very supporter of the Dreamers and this and this and this. They walked away and they backed up. And that was a huge disrespect to me. I had an emotional breakdown. I had to go to therapy because I couldn't recover. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to quit it because I'm strong. I know I'm strong. So I was like, nah, I got to stand up for my people, even though I'm not black, even though I'm not Salvadoran, even though I'm not Honduran. I'm all kinds of colors. Let me tell you, I'm a citizen. I'm going to use my power,
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm gonna make sure that I got to tell them, they can't hide, that you can't be like that with us because we are stronger than you think.
Absolutely. Now, y'all are very wise, and I absolutely very impressed with the work that you've already done. But my understanding is that you weren't born this wise, so you must have learned it and picked it up from somewhere. Can you tell me a little bit of how you got involved with Mi Familia Vota? Alexis, you told me that this is your first year doing this type of work. How did you start out in the Emerging Latino Leaders Program, and how did that help you do all the work that you're doing right now?
Yeah, I had like a really powerful conversation on the way back from Austin with Carlos Duarte, and like just seeing the way his mind works and how he thinks about everything. He's just the type of person that just likes to give like everybody. And he would like on the way back, he's like, so and so, you like doing this and that for your community? Okay, I can find a way to connect you with more opportunities with that. Oh, you like environmental stuff? Okay, well I can, and like with me, he's like, oh, so you're into psychology, and he helps you. He's the type of person that will do anything to help you out. And from there, when Mi Familia Vota, I guess from that training, I kind of just got into it, and then from there, I was protesting out there and at City Hall, and then from there it's really weird, my story, how I got with Mi Familia Vota, but I know that it was Carlos Duarte that got me into ELL. And then from ELL, he announced, he's like, we have an opportunity for everybody, it's open to everybody. Unfortunately it's on your finals week, but you can go out here and protest and for the DREAM Act and everything. And I was like, man, I'm like, that's so awesome. But yeah, that's how I got involved with Mi Familia. And yeah, thank you, Carlos.
Yeah, so for our listeners, Carlos Duarte is the Texas State Director for Mi Familia Vota and the Education Fund. He has been really, really important to the maintenance of the EL program, the development of also the Emerging Latino Leaders Fellows program. Additionally, he has done amazing work in Arizona and Texas. I'm not going to go into it, but the biggest thing is that after he got his master's degree in social and industrial psychology and then his PhD in social and cultural anthropology, he hasn't looked back and has kept his Mexican and American community in his heart as he goes forward and really empowers his community. And it's so cool to hear that this was your experience, because it looks like he's touched us both in very positive ways. Anyway, Gloria, your turn.
See, I don't really know Carlos Ante, but I actually got to be in Mi Familia Vota because I was doing rallies and like basically writing like 150 letters in Congress. I was getting our school to understand what DREAM Act and DACA meant. So I was doing coffee with principals and parents. I was talking to my friends about it. I was doing rallies so people can share the stories. I was writing newspapers, anything to spread out the importance of DACA and DREAM Act. And so when Mi Familia Vota heard, they brought our sponsor, Denise, and she's the one who actually got me to speak to Oscar, the leader of United We Dream. And
can you tell us what United We Dream is?
United We Dream is the highest Latino organization movement out there. It's the highest Latino movement.
But yeah, sorry, but it's crazy. It was a woman that was like the leader of like the whole DC thing, right?
Mm-hmm. So it was the leader, yeah. But the one who got me involved in all of this was the leader, Oscar, and he was an amazing person. His vibe is so amazing, and he told me like he saw about my character. He saw like, oh, you were born a leader. And he told me all this. He was like, I have an opportunity for you so you can go to DC, and I was like, honestly, like I had a lot of things to do. My mom's a single mother of 3 kids since my father died when I was 12. So I have to work, provide for them. And I also have to finish my school because I'm about to graduate. So it was a lot of pressure going to DC because I'm like, I have all these things to do. I have my finals. I have to ask permission to my job. So thankfully my job was okay with it. Thankfully, like I did my finals and my teachers were really okay with it. But I was like so stressed out, and luckily I was like, okay, I don't care if I have all these issues, I'm gonna put all those issues away. And like, because I was fighting, because I was doing revolts in my school, because I was teaching them I have a chance to actually go to DC and actually like fight for something like in a bigger scale. So I go to DC and I'm over here like already sharing stories. I'm already speaking to newscasts. I'm already chanting. I'm already a chant leader. I'm over here like already doing big moves. And I'm like, okay. So I was like, okay. Yeah, because I was like,
in the hats.
Well, it's because like I was like, I was in a crowd of thousands of people. I had to speak, and he was like, Alexis was telling me, hey, you got this. Like your story is very empowering. Like go show it. And I was like, but what if like I don't know, I feel like my story might be important, but it's not as important as an undocumented. He was like, nah, your story is really inspiring. So I got there. I was talking about how my father died when I was 12. I was basically raised in jail cells because he was discriminated. He was deported before he passed away. My grandma couldn't come here. And then the second time that they went to D.C., I couldn't go because on January 9th, my grandma passed away. And because she passed away, her body is moved to Mexico, and my mom only has a permit, so she can't really go see her over there. So she was really devastated, and I had to work hours and hours to get more money for bills and more stuff that we were going. And even now, we're still going through a lot of things, but I'm still here fighting. I'm still with my familia Bota, like United We Dream. Still, I went to the city hall. I was like, okay, since I can't go to Washington, I'm going to go to the city hall with, United We Dream. And I was protesting. And I got a big mic, and I was like, I'm going to chant like loud as I can. So I did. I started chanting with Alexis. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to make big moves. So I started helping with the voting registrations in school. And that's how we started doing all of this. And that's how it started me being an activist with my familia Bota and United We Dream. Because if it wasn't for Denise or Oscar or my teacher, Ms. Rosales, who really got me to inspire to do this, because I've been wanting to do this for a while, but I didn't know how to start.
Absolutely.
So they gave me the basic structure to do it.
From my understanding, y'all recently went to Washington, D.C., is that right?
Yes.
Can you tell me why you went, what you did, how that trip was?
Okay, so the idea behind the trip was to protest for the DREAM Act, to get the senators to withhold their votes for the CR bill if it didn't include the DREAM Act. So I went to D.C. because I have a lot of people in my school that are undocumented, a lot of friends that are undocumented. And sadly, our principal isn't he's okay with the stuff that I was doing, but he isn't like a highly activist like me. And so like that kind of disappoints me, because as a principal, you're supposed to represent our people, our school. And you're basically just doing it for the good of yourself. And I know like this is going to get a lot of controversy, but honestly, like I don't care, because I'm speaking for the rest of the people who are not being heard. And if people disagree with it, then I don't care, because I'm doing it for myself, and for the people that they can't be heard. So I went to DC in a bus.
No. I mean, it was a pretty nice bus. Like, I mean, I slept. I had like no.
He slept good because he had a pillow. I didn't have nothing.
I had no buddy either, so I was just chilling. You know what I'm saying?
I didn't have no blanket. I was in a bus. I felt stinky because we didn't take showers. Only brush our teeth. I was crowded. My back hurt. I was like, oh my god. So I was in a bus for a whole day, with nothing but people that I don't even know. I'm over here exhausted. I didn't get no sleep, no nothing. But I was like, okay, let's do this. I'm excited. And that's when things go hard. Hard, because once we were there, we already started doing the training. We went immediately to training.
We got through the night of.
Yeah, but we put our stuff in the hotel, and then we went to the training. And as soon as we get to the training, the leader, she starts talking about like, other things we're gonna do, the strategies we're gonna do, when we're gonna do it, what time we're gonna do it. And we started training for like the sittings. And immediately when we started doing the training, right after we started doing the sittings.
Wow.
I was like, whoa, whoa. I wasn't expecting this. I don't know.
It wasn't really new to me, but
I mean, for me, because it was my first time. It was my first time actually doing like this high of a protest.
Right.
And
it
was my first time.
DC?
It was so scary because I'd never been to another state that was in Houston. And then I'm in a state where there's nothing but politics, and I'm just like, whoa. We're disturbing the peace and something might happen. And so I ended up getting the role of.
You were a chant leader.
I was a chant leader, and I was a storyteller. And so I was
So what do
I was
these
basically
different roles do?
Oh yeah, tell them about tell them how we organize, because I feel like what I really like about these organizations is they train you really well. Like they prepare you for what's to come. Like, okay, so we have MC, the person, you come in as a group, right?
a whole bunch of groups.
Yeah. Well, I mean, with the offices and it just depends on the population or whatever. But anyways, you walk into the office and there's an MC, and the MC is the person that gets started and talks to the staffers in the office, and that pretty much just like segues everything together. And then we have the chat leader, the person that's like,
who's screaming?
Where are we from?
Houston.
What we do?
Hold it down.
Yeah,
like we're basically are the people who hype it up, who are like chant leading. Like if you hear at the news, you hear like all these people screaming that one chant.
Like you step into the hall of like every
like what did we want? Dream Man. When do we want it? Now. So like it's chant. So the chant leaders in charge is starting the chants, like starting the singing or the whatever they're gonna scream.
I was a wrangler, right? Pretty much what a wrangler is you keep people, whenever you go to to the offices or the representatives, like in the hallways, I have to keep everybody in line, make sure that the gaps are not too big between the line. You know, you keep people together. So when you're walking, like when you're protesting, like out there in the streets of DC,
you are not in the
pretty much
street, so they won't run you over.
Yeah, you pretty much control the traffic and everything. And then there's a police liaison, right?
The police liaison.
And the police liaison, it pretty much does.
They talk to the police officers, tell them like, hey, we're just following our First Amendment, you know,
stalling them as well.
Stalling them as well. So we go, we get training, and then we go to the sittings. And we go to the senator of Minnesota. No, the senator of, I forgot which one was it. I think it's Tennessee or some other senator. But we go to the senator's office. Immediately we sit down. You know, you have the MCs telling them, okay, we're going to sit here in this office and we're going to have our stories to be told.
Until the senator publicly comes out on video on social media stating that she will support the DREAM Act, whether if it's included, that will vote for the COR if it includes the DREAM Act. You know what I'm saying? And then if it doesn't, then we want you to withhold your vote. And we're not gonna leave until you actually come on and say it. So something, or you kick us out with the police. But nobody ever did. They were like, the staffers be like, you want some water, guys?
Some did.
No, we want a DREAM Act. That's what we want.
Some did. So let me tell you. So we were in the sittings. We were in the sittings, and then I'm sharing my story. We're crying. Everybody's telling the story. So my story is when I was younger, like around 5, 6, 7, 8, like throughout, my father was always arrested for discrimination. A month before he passed away, or 2 months before he passed away, he was deported. And I remember him calling me saying, it's going to be okay, it's going to be fine. And I told him, like, what if something happens over there, you know? So it was very, like, heartbreaking because I didn't want to see him all the way over there. And even when he was in jail cells, I was just mad. Why is he in there? He's not a criminal. He's not a criminal, so why he's there? All he did is just work for us.
Was it for
make us happy.
Like visa stuff?
He didn't file his papers in the court, so he was an immigrant. He didn't have no permit. He didn't have nothing. And then he died when I was 12 years old, 2012. He was electrocuted and cutting trees. And then after that, I felt like in a deep depression. And so my mom, she was the only thing that I had. And then my brother and my sister, but she was never with me because she had to take care of the 2 little kids. So I had to grow up very young. Nobody should go through that because I was alone. I had to learn how to pay bills and stuff. So I get a job. I turn 15 and I have my 15 party. And then, you know, it's sad because your dad is not there. You know, you wish your dad was in there and you're like, damn, like, he's not there. Then my mom started working. She never had a job, so she started working at cleaning offices. So she would be disrespected by so many people when she was cleaning offices, and I would feel so, like, mad and angry. I'm like, what the hell? Like, she didn't do anything. She's just cleaning your office, and you're disrespecting her. So I had to take care of my brother and my sister while going to school and then working at the same time. And then my grandma from my dad's side, she tried to come to the funeral of my dad, and they didn't let her because she's came here already twice, so they had to send her back. And so on January 9th, 2018, my grandma passed away from my mom's side. And then my mom, she only has a permit, and so my grandma, she couldn't come here, and my mom couldn't go over there in Mexico and go see her body, you know, see her like at her funeral and stuff. So I was just like angry because I'm like, they have all these legal actions, you know, and even if you apply for a visa or you apply for DACA, takes years and years, and probably they send you back sometimes to your country where you've never been before in a couple of, and you don't have the guarantee of having it. So when people say, how come you don't file for your papers or nothing, it's difficult. It's a lot of money, you know, and for an immigrant, you don't have a lot of money, like a citizen.
Yeah, like people, especially people like in El Salvador. Like I've watched a video on Vice about that. They're living in a gang-infested cities in like M13, like, you know, and they don't have that kind of time to be like, oh, well, let me just file this and wait all these years until like, you know? Maybe by the time this comes around, I won't even be alive. You know what I'm saying? So like that's a mentality that they have, and I feel like that's why there's such a big issue behind this immigration thing, that they make it seem like it's so bad, but these people are just trying to provide for their families. My father was an immigrant, and he came to America and he worked his ass off to build what he had, he had for me. He built a home for me, for him to provide for me and my family, to give us a house, to give us the food, to give us the clothes that we had. Like, he was always there consistently for us.
Well, that's the thing with my dad. He had high blood pressure. So he will work in the hot sun in the rainy days. I will see him struggling. I will work with him sometimes when I was little, cutting trees, you know, getting the branches. And it's a difficult task. That's why they want us. That's why they want us for labor work, because we're good at it. We're proud of it because we know how to manage it. But it also have health issues. And because he's an immigrant, he couldn't get Medicaid or CHIP. Basically all the medical insurances that we have, the privileges that we have. So when he passed away, I was just angry because in the newscast, you know, they just said a gardener just passed away, you know, cutting trees. And I was like, he's not just any gardener, okay? He's my father, and don't be calling him like if he's just any regular gardener. So when I went to Washington and I was sharing my story, I was just pouring out for the first time, speaking about the discrimination that it is, how the law basically separated my family and basically destroyed my dad's life. So we go into sittings, and then the police escort us. Talking about how we're having a public disturbance. And so I'm just like, well, we're not disturbing anybody, because basically they were disturbing our lives way before we even came here. So how can you say that we're doing disturbance in here when we're doing a First Amendment? And then the police, you know, tells us to go out, and so we leave. And then that's when stuff got real, when we went to...
especially there's this one action we took. And it was like the tunnels that the congressmen used to get to where they need to be, right? So you're seeing them, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're seeing us and we're seeing them. Like, it was like there were 1,300 of us. So we were all in lines of...
a little tight place.
Yeah, lines of 3, like all like 1,300 of us in a big tunnel where they all were. And it was called a die-in. Pretty much what they would do, they would just lay on the floor, right? And it was supposed to be like the death of their dreams, you know? And then... you would see like the senators come by and they'll look at us. And it's just like, you can't ignore us. Like, we're there, like, we're strong in numbers, and then the police came through.
And then we didn't want to leave until the second chant. And then the third chant, that's when the police almost like pull out his gun. So that's when stuff got serious, and we're like, okay, we gotta go. But what I would do is, when we're preparing for the dying, I would look at the congressmen inside their eyes. Like, I would look at them, like, shame on them in their eyes. And they would just look, and then they would go away. Like, they were like,
they're so cold-hearted up there.
They are.
Must be the weather.
Nah, the weather. You know, but they were, even the civilians, like, they were so rude.
Yeah, because there is this one other, like, little action that we did where we had to stack this stick of flyers.
So basically, the flyers is saying that in an hour, 5 DACA statuses are being taken away. And so it informs them of what's going on.
And it had a picture of, like, the people that are
the people who are DACAs, you know. So we were giving them to the civilians, and like some people were like basically ignoring us. They were ignoring us.
We would be like, hey, they'd be like, and
or like wow. They'll be like, no, not today, or like person who
I love that.
Or like that person who was saying, you know,
don't get to say that,
immigrants are not gonna win. People were so rude, and I'm like, I wanted to be a senator. I mean, I still want to be a senator, but like I looked up to them thinking they're representing us, and then when I actually go there, I see the reality. I'm like, damn.
That really brought all of us down, because we were just like, you know, it's mid-December, and you're out here in DC, and you're over here like, hey, you want this flyer? And they just like look at you like a piece of dirt. And it's just like, when
they do.
that brought me down, but it also like empowered me, because I'm just like, oh, you gonna see with that tunnel, you know what I'm saying? You gonna feel us there.
So we do all of those. We do the sittings, we do the tunnels, we do the cafeteria when we went to the cafeteria and like did like a protest. And so that's when we went to the music. Oscar tells me, oh, I want you to speak. And I'm like, no, I don't want to speak. Like, I'm not ready. I don't have a speech prepared and everything. He's like, don't worry, you're good at this. Oh my God, I'm so nervous. I'm like,
believe in yourself more. Like, you're actually really good at it.
I went in there and I was speaking. I was tearing up and I was telling them, like, okay, don't worry, for the people who, you know, are not who are undocumented, I'm going to use my rights and my, you know, my statuses to protect all of y'all. I'm going to make sure I use my voting rights.
The thing I find really offensive about this whole situation is the fact that they think that they could just take advantage of us and then we're just going to sit there and take it. Like, we're not going to sit here no more. Like, this is all about taking action, and for those that people in high schools that want to take action, like, it's there. Like, I go to a predominantly white institution, and you can count like the Hispanics on 2 sets of hands, you know what I'm saying? And I was in a situation where I feel like I couldn't say anything because I'd be shamed because, you know, I was alone. But then being out there in DC and seeing so many different and familiar faces together, and one all wearing the same color, wearing the same beanie, chanting the same chants, out there vibing out together. I say that to say this is, if you don't stand up for yourself, then who will? Why wait?
All right, y'all. Thank you so much for coming. This is very important. It is our mission at Civic Duty Rice to encourage people, no matter their size, age, ethnicity, background, whatever, to really care about what's going on in their government, really care about what's going on in their communities, and go out and do it. To that end, our call to action today starts with, first of all, supporting Mi Familia Vota, this fantastic organization that both works here in Houston and nationally, and also advocacy groups like United We Dream. They also were the people who funded Alexis and Gloria's trip to DC, and it's really, really cool that these high school students get to go to DC when, like, I haven't gotten to do that yet. So that's insane to me, and I'm really happy for that. So again, support, like Facebook, send money, go out yourself and join Mi Familia Vota and advocacy groups like United We Dream. If you're looking into a little bit less commitment, definitely join the Civic Duty Rice listserv. We regularly send out Facebook and email messages about how you can get involved, particularly with volunteering events that we have with both Mi Familia Vota and the Emerging Latino Leaders Program. The committee that I'm in puts that on, so also feel free to Facebook message me, Sonia Torres. I exist on Facebook, so that's cool. By the way, if you don't want to be a part of Civic Duty, I'm going to be hurt, but that's okay. You can still apply to be an intern with either Mi Familia Vota or another civic organization here in Houston. Additionally, a second point for this call to action, become more civically active. Feel free to call your congressman, not just about this issue, but generally other things that are going on around the world. Get registered to vote, people. Midterm elections are happening. These are some ways that you can become more involved in this issue, particularly in supporting immigrants. Thank you for listening. Please leave comments and join the conversation. We try to be unbiased here, but we can't truly get all perspectives without you, our listeners. Join us next time to stay in the loop.
Came with the realest, came with the realest you ever heard. Came with the realest, came with the realest you ever heard.